I know the parents of my community are going to ask me. I've got an 8-year-old daughter, I've got a 20-year-old son, and just looking at social media being a drug, what tips do you have for this next generation? Because it's so difficult. My son was the second last person out of his grade to get a phone. We try to resist that as best as we could without sort of ostracizing him. And now my daughter at the age of 8, I mean, her friends in her class have got phones and they're on TikTok. I know that you're not a user of social media, so maybe you can just speak about social media and the next generation. What would you say to me as a father of an 8-year-old in a modern day city where we do have internet and we do have social media?
Yeah. So I mean, social media to me is a drug. It's a legal drug, and we see that phenomenologically. Most people who use social media will be able to correct their usage, just like most people who use alcohol do not become alcoholics. But a subset of individuals will very quickly manifest all the signs and symptoms of a full-blown addiction to social media. Just like we don't let kids, buy and consume alcohol in most countries, we shouldn't be doing that with social media. We absolutely need guardrails. And we can't expect individuals and their parents to take on the full responsibility for this. It has to be both a bottom-up and a top-down approach. This is a community problem. It's one thing to, deny your kid their phone and say, go out and play, and then they go out and play and no one else is there. There's no one to play with because they're all inside on social media. So this is a huge problem. It's one thing to, restrict it in the home, and then your kid goes to school and they're on a computer all day watching, movies, that they've been assigned to watch or what have you. We have to really, really rethink what we've done here with social media, with the technology in general. Obviously, we're not going to throw the baby away with the bathwater, and there are many wonderful things about the technology, but we need a sophisticated digital etiquette informed by the science and the understanding that there is a deep, dark underbelly and that there are real harms, especially for vulnerable individuals, which I would say includes all kids, because kids still are developing their brains. Their frontal lobes are still not connected to those gremlins in the limbic and reward areas. And we cannot just give our kids, unmitigated access to devices and the internet. If you're talking about my specific recommendations, I would say to you, keep up the resistance, Steve. It's worth the fight. In general, I recommend that no child under the age of about 13 has a device with their own access to the internet, and that once they do get a device, that there's lots of discussions in the family about appropriate use, both what's socially appropriate in terms of quantity and frequency, what are the times and places when we're not to be using, not in the bedroom, not during meals, not during a social occasion when you're expected to interact and be humanly present for others, as well as, responsible use of digital media. You might have recently seen the New York Times article about sexploitation and how teenage boys are being lured into these, false sexual encounters with non-existent AI-generated teenage girls, and then, being persuaded to send dick pics and then being financially extorted because, of course, it never was a real girl on the other end. I mean, this is just absolutely terrible that we are not doing more as corporations, as governments, as societies to protect our kids from this. It's just, and that's, that's only, then you've got the whole addictive nature, the built-in design features that make these things inherently addictive, as we can all attest to and experience, right? So a lot of talking about as families, yeah, it's hard for me to disengage too, even from email, right? Just kind of that scrolling through, like waiting for something. I mean, I tell myself it's for work, it's productivity, I'm putting out fires. If I do more now, I'll do it. No, the faster I respond, the more emails I get. There has to be time in which we are offline. It has to be together in real life, all of us offline. We've created this powerful monster. We really have to cage it.